Hello there, welcome to Genesis Models. My name is Bobby Waldron, and in this video we're going to be doing a inbox review of Kitty Hawk's SAAB Jas-39B Gripen. Now this is, shall we say, this is a fairly new tool as well. It was something like first release 2013, but this is another rebox from Kitty Hawk of a 2014 release. As you can see from the box art on the sides, we've got all sorts of different markings we can do: Brazil, Hungary, Czech, Swedish, we've got Thailand, South Africa. Rather nice, and some nice box art as well. So let's just open this up and let's start off with some instructions, which I have misplaced. One second. There they are. Right, here they are. As you can see, the paper is just nice sort of standard paper. It seems a little bit satin the first page, but then it goes nice and matte. Now there's nothing really to write home about with the actual instructions. They are pretty straightforward. There's not really any major options, and it does seem to go together in the sense that the cockpit and the nose section come together, then the fuselage comes together, and then your two wing halves come together. So, you know, pretty well. It doesn't look a simple construction, to be honest, and I do think there might be some fit issues with it. But running along with the instructions, you do come to this here, which is a bit weird, but you've got all these different markings, and they're all very much muddled up. And I do believe that is because we need to actually sort of rip this out of here for them all to match up, which is strange, but there you go. As I say, nothing to write home about with the instructions. You do get like a weapons loadout thing going on there, but that is that. Right, so moving along, let's just show you a few sprues here. Moving in on our wheel well, as you can see, the wheel well, it does have detail, but I feel like it is lacking just a little bit. Turning it over, ejector pin marks, well, very nicely. We haven't got any on the inside of our wheel well doors, which is, you know, rather good there. Moving along, let's just kind of get through some of these sprues without bringing loads out. What we got here, we have lots of little bits and pieces here, you know, engine fans, a few kind of maybe bits of landing gear, just lots of little odds and sods. And you're probably seeing, you know, we are getting a bit of flash, a bit here and there, which isn't that brilliant. Time to start looking at the surface detail. We have our wing section here, right, top and bottom. So let's bring you in as close as we can possibly get you, right. Let's see if we can rotate you in the light, get this out of the way. Hopefully what you're seeing is the actual recess panel line and recess rivets. There is lots of them. They do look kind of impressive, but then I just can't help but feel like these panel lines aren't going to take a wash. I almost feel like if I was to do this, I would potentially be going off and rescribing the whole model, to be honest with you. They're just, there is slight places where, okay, it looks like it would take a wash, but then I just can't help, most of it does actually look as though it won't take a wash. Apart from actually the front nose section, yeah, hopefully as you can see just there, right, those panel lines are looking rather good, and they do look like they'll take a wash, but then as it wraps around, right, our recess panel lines do fade. So yeah, not a good point there as well. Same with the other side as well. Cockpit detail, well, we've got you know, sort of like minor detail going there out of the box. Not totally bad, but it's not brilliant. Our instrument display panels, you know, they do look a little basic, but then the decals you do get with this kit for the instrument display panels are actually do look really good actually. And your second one there, because this is a two-seater. Ejector seats, they do, again, you know, like a lot of this kit, they do have the detail there, but it just seems to be lacking. And you know, I am seeing lots of bits of flash here and there. Ejector pin marks for this sprue, not really seeing them in any bad places, to be honest. So that was that one. With this kit as well, you do get a nice big array of weapons. We've got 2 sprues here that are totally and utterly dedicated to weapons, which they do look actually rather good actually. I mean, better than the kit, to be honest, those weapons do. We've got another sprue here as well, if I could just... this was the weird sprue. I've got another sprue here, and we've got just a couple more weapons on here as well. We've got our pylons, which, you know, they just basically look like the rest of the kit. We've got nice recessed panel lines and recessed rivets, but they just seem to be a little bit too shallow to take a wash. The odd little place does look like it will take a wash. But then we have this weird sort of this seems to be like one big sprue that they have just sort of like melted and then bent over so that that can fit it in the box. But then it's sort of like, you know, you're gonna break it open, but there you go. First for everything. On here as well, you know, we've got our engine sections, which you know, again, like everything about this kit, you know, they put the detail in there, but then it does seem to fall short of, you know, being nicely detailed. We've even got a bit of a sink mark. I don't know if you can just see that. I have a little bit of a sink mark just there and just there, and also over this side as well. So you got them sink marks. And actually, if I maybe break this open, if I get my cutters out, 1 second, I can show you these absolutely humongous. Hold on, I'm just gonna have to cut right into these just to get to it, just to show you. There we go. Right, this is probably why there's sink marks. These absolutely massive ejector pin marks, absolutely awful, to be honest with you, as you can see just there. But then, you know, the detail around here, you know, is looking all right. Actually, these recessed panel lines do look rather good there. On the inside here, nothing to write home about there. Moving along to the fuselage section. Right, now the fuselage section has yet again absolutely massive ejector pin marks. As you can see, big ejector pin marks, but the detail again, you know, is just the same as the rest of the kit. Right, doesn't look like it's going to take a wash. Not only that, as I've been kind of messing with this kit, in places it feels actually, you know, quite noticeably oily, which is kind of a rare thing these days for kits to be oily, so that you have to wash them in soapy water so you can spray them. It's very rare that I've really had that, so it's kind of strange to see what is a new kit release from 2013 being so oily. So that's a bit of a shame. Then we have our canopy. Our canopy, there is no seam line down the middle. It is looking very nice and crystal clear, but we do have a bit of a sort of ripply, wavy sort of effect in there that you can get with canopies. But actually, you know, it is rather a nice canopy there. Moving along, we do get some photo etch with this kit, which is rather nice, which I do believe, I think we've got exhaust detail here, we've got seat belts and all sorts of little things just to jazz things up, which is just out of focus there, which is nice just to jazz things up, which is rather good for this kit. So and then nicely actually got a plastic protective sheeting on there. And then last but not least, we've got actually some really cool decals. Right, now these decals, they do seem to say by Kitty Hawk, and when I feel them, they feel and seem to look quite matty, feel very thin. I get the feeling that these are going to be quite easy to crack. You've got to be careful with the decaling solutions, because if you use too much or too strong, I've got a feeling it will wrinkle up like nobody's business. But just to bring you in, hopefully you can appreciate these absolutely lovely instrument display panels, very well detailed, as well as this sort of eye kind of decal there. And then moving along to the rest of the decals, right, hopefully as you can see, again, same sort of thing going on here, very nicely colourful, nicely in registry, you know, and looking rather good. I mean, even the smaller bits of writing, it looks like we can see that, but actually I think I'll get the macro out in a bit and show you that. In fact, I'll set that up now. So here we are with the macro, so we're just going to have a look and see, you know, can we like read this small writing. So just bringing you in and back a little bit, there we go. So as you can see, I mean, it does look like we can see even this really small writing does have, you know, it's not like a blur that some manufacturers do. They just sort of blur it out. You know, we do have actual writing going on in there, so that is rather cool. So that is all the parts to this kit. Just to give you the price of this kit is actually sadly it's actually £41.50 from Hannons, which I do believe is a shame, because I think, me personally, this kit is a little bit disappointing. You know, those ejector pin marks are horrendous. There is a bit of flash going on there. It does have that detail, but then it just seems to lack it, and it does seem to be not so crisp. You've also got the recessed panel lines. If I was to do this, I would be rescribing pretty much all of it, because it just doesn't look like it's going to take a wash very well. And being £41.50, I've got to admit, this isn't a kit that I personally would like to do. But in saying that, you know, you do have a kit, an aircraft here that I do believe it's only Italiair that also does one of these Gripens. So you know, it depends who you are and what kind of model you are. You know, this is a kit that I think would be a bit challenging, so probably intermediate and advanced would want to tackle this. And I suppose really, you know, at the end of the day, you know, if you're a fan of the Gripen, then, you know, you're going to want to get this kit. But hopefully, you know, I've given you all the ins and outs of this kit as quickly as I can. So until next time, you know, I hope you've enjoyed the inbox review here at Genesis Models. So until next time, I hope you've enjoyed.